Hey everyone, so I got a bug that I came across, and I don't know if, I think it's a bug. Some could say it's a quirk, strange behavior, whatever you want to call it. It's with the invoice form and how it's handled when you exit the form. So, what we're going to do first is create a cash account because we got to kind of set things up here a bit to get it so we can do what we need to do. And let's add another account, and we're going to do accounts receivable. So we can do an invoice and go with the defaults. So it's a brand new file. And so now we got our cash account, customer invoices, and let's go here and create a new invoice. And we'll put Mike, and then we'll put item, we'll put labor, and it's gonna ask me to create a new item, and then we'll put a category on it. Actually, I'm just gonna leave this blank, and let's see if it lets me. Let's just put this $10, and okay. So as you can see, I have an item, a line item for labor, has no category, which normally, and I don't know if Quicken requires that. You probably want to do it. I'm by no means an expert, but I just kind of fell upon this issue, so I figured it was worth reporting because I think most people will probably put a category because it probably helps for categorizing. Just put it there. Again, I'm still learning Quicken. That being said, I don't think this behavior should be happening. So I have what you'd look for the most part looks decent. Let's go ahead and hit save. Now, if I go back into this invoice and I edit it and then I hit escape, it just quits. Now, watch this. If we go here and we put a category here and call it consulting income, and then I go into the form and now I hit escape, it asks you if I want to cancel. I think this is what Quicken intended to be the default behavior. Now, the reason I bring this up is you go, well, what's the big deal? Well, at some point in time in another file, I had entered a bunch of stuff in here. I put a bunch of items, I had descriptions, quantities, rates, amounts. Essentially, I had a completed invoice. I must have left off a category on the first item because apparently, if you put categories on the rest of the items but not the first, it has that interesting behavior. But anyways, something I did later on, I'm not totally sure what, triggered an issue where it wiped out the item, descriptions, quantity, rates, everything except for my total amount, which was really strange. So again, I can't recreate that behavior, but it seems I must have left this blank here and then had more items here like this with their own categories like that. And because I noticed when I'd hit escape every time on that invoice, it was just quitting. And that just so happened to be the invoice that lost all its data from some other transaction I did. Maybe I was receiving a new customer payment or something like that. Again, I don't know what triggered that behavior. Now, obviously, you could say, well, then just put a category in there. Again, I don't know if you should always have to have a category. I don't know if it's normal that you would ever leave it blank. I can't say that. I just think, like, if I go and hit save and then go back in here, now it'll work normally. Also, if you go and delete this one, it will still work normally. So if I go hit and save and hit escape, so Quicken's only checking the first one. It's not checking the rest of them. So maybe that's part of another bug. Like if it just so happens if one of them is blank, maybe it wipes out the whole invoice. Um, Again, I don't know what triggered that behavior. So be it. This does bring up another gripe of mine, which is, I guess you could say, a feature request. And it annoys me if I go into a form and I'm looking at it because I'm just browsing around and I go, oh, okay, cool, this one looks good, hit escape. I hit escape. I know I want to cancel. You don't have to ask me if I want to cancel. Because a lot of times I'm just looking, I have a bunch of invoices here. I want to check that. Okay, looks good, hit cancel. It's like, this is the only software that I've ever used where it asks me to cancel if I want to cancel. I know I want to cancel. Uh, I'm guessing it's because they're not keeping track of whether or not a change was made. Therefore, so in other words, the software's not smart enough in that regard. Like they didn't code it in such a way that's keeping track to say, oh, a change was made. I need to ask if you want to save it, like most software does. Like you go, if you don't make a change and you hit cancel, it just lets you out. If you do make a change and you hit cancel, then it'll say, do you want to save the changes that you made? That should be the behavior that I'd like to see. That would be the behavior I'd like to see versus asking me just every single time if I want to cancel. So, but otherwise, that's more of a feature request that doesn't really affect, it's a usability issue. It doesn't affect, um, it doesn't cause problems per se, other than annoying me. Um, so hopefully the devs will be able to look at this and see what it is that not having a category leads to, and maybe they'll see that it could lead to some other unintended behavior that I ran into, which unfortunately I can't recreate. So hope that helps.